What's going on, Jerome's? Tomorrow or today or whenever you're watching this. If you're watching this video in 2027, why are you watching this video in 2027? Doesn't matter. But Tuesday, 3 p.m. Central Time, which is the only time zone that matters, 53-man rooster cuts are due. And then you got to wait a day, and then practice squads can be assembled. So we want to walk through the timelines for the 53-man rosters, the practice squads, the injured reserve rules, because this is not NOM, Smokey. There are rules here. So we want to go through basically a FAQ of what the hell is going to be going on with the Vikings and the other 31 teams around the league today or tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So a 53-man roster cuts is due at 3 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday. That's when the every team through a myriad of cuts or injured reserves have to get their roster number down to 53. Also, at that time, the top 51 for the salary cap calculations go away, and then you calculate it from the top 53, or whenever your 53-man roster is settled. Waivers, so players with 4 years or less of accrued experience pass through waivers. It's a lot like fantasy football, where there's a pecking order. Currently, it's the draft order from 2022 of putting in claims on players. And if they go unclaimed, then you can put them on your practice squad, etc. Veterans with more than 4 years of experience are automatically free agents. They're free to sign and do whatever the hell they please. So those waivers are processed at 3 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. Now, teams can't claim a player that's been released and put them on their practice squad. They have to put them on the 53-man roster. That's why it's rather rare that players get claimed and snatched up, because you do have to house them on your 53. Practice squads then can be assembled after that deadline has passed, starting at 3 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. Injured reserve rule. So we get a lot of questions about this. Before the 53-man deadline on Tuesday, 3 p.m., if a player is put on injured reserve, they are out for the season. Now, this is to dissuade teams from stashing players on IR and then just having them come back later in the season just so you can get down to the 53. It makes sense. So BC Johnson, obviously with his torn ACL, prayers up for BC, man. It sucks. But he is obviously on season-ending on IR. What's more interesting is T.Y. McGill. So T.Y. McGill had an ankle injury that was deemed severe enough to be put on injured reserve, so the Vikings couldn't just straight up cut him. Again, you can't cut injured players without financial compensation. So he's on IR. Now, it had been estimated that it was a 1 week, 2 week injury, so he could potentially leave injured reserve with a injury settlement. And now that differs for how the period of time that a player was going to be estimated to miss, and the injured reserve injury settlement rules are that a team can't have an injury settlement with the player because then they become a free agent. They're free to sign with anyone around the league, but that team who gave the player the settlement, they can't come back after 6 weeks. Again, that's to dissuade players and teams from just stashing a player and bringing him back. They can't bring him back until 6 weeks have passed. So the Vikings, maybe they'll come to an injury settlement with T.Y. McGill, and then 6 weeks pass. If he hasn't signed anywhere else, bring him back. That love and feeling, man. Then after the 53-man deadline on Tuesday, if they put a player on injured reserve, they are eligible for return. So that's why you see sometimes injured players make it through the 53 with hopes that they can come back during the season. Now, players can return after 4 games. They changed that. It was 3 games before. So now it's 4 games. Up to 8 players per season can return. And a player can go on IR and return twice. Man, that guy's got some bad luck, but it does count towards 8 total. So it isn't 8 separate players per se. It's 8 instances of a player returning from injured reserve, if that makes sense. And then while we're at it, may as well do the practice squad as well. So practice squad, which can be assembled after waivers pass at 3 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. 16 players total. You can have up to 6 players with maximum with unlimited experience. So you have your super veterans, whatever, and you'll often see that when a team brings on a veteran player, they'll sign him to the practice squad to start, just so they can get him in the building and work up, so they don't have to disturb the 53-man rooster, and then they can game day elevate that player, and then eventually they bring him up to the 53. Right? You can have up to 10 max with 2 or fewer seasons, and then you can have all 16 players if you want with fewer than 9 games accrued in one single season. So basically, it's going to be a mix of young guys as well as a handful of old guys. Players can be elevated 3 times per season. That used to be 2. So they can be added to the game day roster, the game day 53, or 53. well, 46, you know what I mean, whatever. But they can be elevated. That has to be put in by 4 p.m. on Friday for a Sunday game. And you see this a lot with like Dan Chisena on special teams. You see this come back and forth. You saw this with Andrew DePaulo when he first got here. He joined the practice squad. They elevated him on game day. So just because a player is on the practice squad doesn't mean that you're necessarily not going to see him on Sunday if he does have a specific role. Also, it gives teams flexibility that if a player has a minor injury, they can replace them on the practice squad without an impact on the salary cap or putting the player on injured reserve. No muss, no fuss. And after 3 times, the player has to be added to the 53-man roster, or they're going to be subject to waivers. Then they can also protect up to 4 players per week. Now, a change in the rules is that there's no limit on the number of protections. Basically, the league's just trying to stop teams from poaching other teams' practice squads. So you can have a player that's on practice squad making... So practice squad wages range from $11K to up to $19.9K per week. It's not active roster money, but it's still pretty damn good, man. But a player can be on the practice squad. You can protect up to 4 per week. So a player can be on the practice squad and be protected the entire season and stopping from another team from poaching him. Again, if a team does put in a claim on another team's practice squad player, they have to elevate him to the 53. So players can't make lateral moves from practice squad to practice squad through the season. You can't do that unless a team cuts them loose from their first practice squad. So that's it. That's a quick and dirty look at practice squad rules, as well as the rules for the 53-man roster cuts, injured reserve, timelines, all that stuff. So if you still have questions, I ain't got answers. That's all we got, man. But that's it. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.